I'm about to tell you about Michelle Tharp, the woman sentenced to death in Pennsylvania for starving her 7-year-old daughter to death, and what she did to me. Hi, I'm Kelly, and this is The Woman Condemned, where we talk about women on death row and those serving life. And the only place you'll hear their words straight from their mouth. Here's a little background on Michelle Tharp. Michelle Sue Tharp was sentenced to death in the year 2000 for the starving death of her daughter Tasha Lanham, who weighed 12 pounds at age 7 at the time of her death. When Michelle found her daughter dead in April of '98, she and her boyfriend, Doug Bittaker, bagged up the child's body, went on a few odd errands, and then threw it into a wooded area. Then they went shopping at a mall for a few hours and then called police and told them Tasha was missing from the mall. Eventually, they confessed and were arrested. Michelle's defense in trial was that Tasha had failure to thrive, but the prosecution had all kind of witnesses, including Doug, who said Michelle did not love Tasha, that she held it against her that welfare was going to make her work, and that Tasha's lingering illnesses all her life had been a pain in Michelle's butt. Michelle's death sentence was thrown out in 2014, and she now serves life in prison in Pennsylvania. This little story might show you how crazy it is talking to these women on a daily basis. And this happened to me early in my career when I had no idea how to talk to these people, because there's kind of rules that you have to go by, because they live in prison and their life is different and they survive differently, and there's certain things you say and certain things you don't say. And at that point, I didn't know any of that. It was about 2005, and I was working for a nonprofit outreach, and I was working with Beth Markman, who was on death row in Pennsylvania at the time. For her and her boyfriend had lured his ex to his house, and they killed her. Beth was eventually taken off death row. But I was working with her, and she was trying to get some money and help and stuff. We had written several letters back and forth, and I talked to her on the phone once or twice, and I had mentioned that I knew very little about her case other than what I had read in one article I'd found online. And saying this to her, I thought would tell her, the outreach I was working with at the time didn't care what the crime was. The whole idea was just treat each other as human beings and give these women some help that had none. So I was trying to let her know that. Well, she wrote me a letter, and she said, "Where exactly did you find this article about me? And can you print it out and show it to me?" So I did. The trouble was that the article also had mentioned, it was an article not so much about her, but about all the women on death row at the time, and I think there was like 4 or 5 of them. Dolores Rivers, Carolyn King, Michelle Tharp, Beth Markman, and I don't know, Shonda something. And there's none now in Pennsylvania, but at the time, all 5 of them were on there. So the article had a little clip of all, a little brief paragraph of everything that they had all done to be there. So I printed out and I sent it to her. It was a shitstorm. I didn't hear from her again for like a month, and then I thought, well, Okay, write her off. Go to the next one. Then all of a sudden, I start getting these letters from all these frauds on Pennsylvania death row, all of them that I just mentioned. And they were all pissed. Michelle was the pissedest. They were mad because I sent that article. That was a big faux pas. You're not supposed to mention other people you know in that prison because they get very jealous. The men are the same way. They get extremely freaking jealous and paranoided out if you know someone else at that prison. Men are the same way, but women are horrible. And it's not just this prison. Remind me and I'll tell you one day about Darlie Routier and Kim and the whole shitstorm that happened in that prison. I was looking and I found that I still have quite a few of Michelle's letters. Some of them, I was mad, so I gave a lot of them away to collectors and museums and crap like that. But I found that I do still have the original first letter where she was pissed at me. So I'll read that to you. She's got some pretty cool handwriting, though. Okay. It's dated 5/16/05, and it says, Dear Kelly, hello, you don't know me, but you know of me. I'm one of the 5 inmates, there was 5, on death row at Muncie. You have been visiting Beth Markman for some time now, and I've never had anything to say about the things you write and talk to her about or asked her because it truly was none of my business. But this last letter you wrote is my business because you sent her an article with all of our names on it and what we're accused of doing. First, I'd like to ask why. What made you do something like that? Do you agree with the death penalty or not? Because I'm really having a rough time trying to figure it out. You told Beth you're involved with an organization. If this is true, may I ask what kind of organization it is? Do you know what it's like on death row? Do you know the things we see almost on a daily basis? Do you know what it's like to make yourself get up every morning just to face another day of letdowns? If you want to know things, then be straightforward and ask. We all are going through an appeals process, so talking or even discussing our cases in any way is a big no-no. And she even writes a big no-no. Kelly, I know of many organizations, and they don't care to know what you're accused of. They want you to know that you're thought of and not forgotten. Do you have the right to judge one? Do you want to be judged? I'm writing this because there are 5 of us, and all we have is each other. I don't know what Beth may have said or told you, but I have the article you sent with your last letter, and I don't think it was right for you to do. Do you think we didn't know what each of us up here is accused of? Shit everyone knows before you even walk through those gates. And then to start it off with Shonda Walters. The girl hasn't even come to Muncie yet, and her name is being put everywhere. Why? What kind of people are you? Again, I didn't write the article. Do you have a heart? I don't understand why some have to be so cruel. I've tried not to get all nasty and even ignorant with you. And if I have, I'm truly sorry because that's not me and that's not why I wrote. We feel, Kelly, we may be on death row and I don't know what that says. In all of eyes, we're nobodies. We're already dead. But we're not. We're still humans with feelings and emotions. Feel free to write back, Michelle. So I was kind of dumbfounded. I was like, what the is this talking about? I really was clueless. I had to sit there for a good week and think about it. So I see also from Dolores Rivers, she was let off death row too. And I think she killed her neighbor. I want to say. I haven't read this in years, so. Dear Kelly, hi, my name's Dolores Rivers. I'm here on death row at Muncie State Prison. I'm writing to you because I want to know why you sent articles about me and my case to Beth Markman. I don't think that was cool at all. I can't believe you're that heartless of a person to be judging me or talking about me and my case with anyone. Are you for the death penalty or against it? If you're trying to help death row inmates, why would you do this to hurt me? We have enough problems here with trouble from the outside. We need people to help death row inmates. Any place I know doesn't judge death row. They're not into what they did or why they're on death row. That's not the issue. So can you please tell me what's going on and why you did this? I'm truly upset and hurt by what you did, Kelly. I didn't appreciate it at all. Why did you put Beth in this position? Sincerely, Mrs. Rivers. So, I keep getting a couple more of these. There was one from Carolyn King. I don't know where that's at now. This has been forever ago. I'm lucky I still have these. But I kept getting them. I kept getting these letters. Why did you do this? Why are you such a shitty person? Fuck you. So, I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, these broads have got the wrong idea. So I took my time and wrote every one of them back and explained to them exactly what I did. That I'd been working with Beth, and I gave the name of the charity organization. I gave them forms to fill out so they could become involved. I told them what was offered. And then I explained that Beth had asked me what article I'd read about her and asked me to print it out. That I didn't know I committed some horrible prison faux pas that could have got me shanked or whatever. So about a week later, I get a bunch of other letters from these gals. Now they flip their script and they're all saying, oh, we didn't know. We just thought you sent that article to her out of the clear blue. We didn't understand. So, and then they all wanted money and help and stuff. So I've got this second letter from Michelle, which kind of shows that. I won't read the whole thing because it's lengthy. She says, hey, dear Kelly, hello, I received your letter. This one's dated 5/30/05. A few days back, and to be truthful, I was even more upset because when I questioned Beth about some of the things you mentioned, she completely denied it all. So to be honest, I'm very confused and somewhat hurt. Kelly, I don't write letters accusing one of this or that, but she would call when she would get a letter from you stating you were involved in some organization, but yet you wanted to know why she was there. And I won't lie, I told her that she shouldn't say anything about her case. Mind you, this is the second letter where she's griping me out about asking someone about why they were in there, which I never did. I just showed her the article I'd read. And she's bitching about people asking why they're in there, which I never did to her either. So right off bat, she says, that article really hit me hard because I'm tired of being judged. No one knows the circumstances but me, Tasha, Doug, and God. But yet everyone wants to persecute me as if they were there. Yes, I've made mistakes, big ones at that. But did I kill my daughter? No. My children were my life. They were the only ones who accepted me and loved me unconditionally. So then she closes it with, I'm sorry I made you confused, and no, I didn't have you confused with someone else. I was going on with what Beth was telling me and the article she gave me that she said you sent her. It goes on and on and on for months until I just said piss on it and wrote them all off. There was another woman that also wrote me that gave me a harder time than Michelle did, Carolyn King. And we were all told in the outreach center I worked for about a month later that she was bilking every sort of resource that she could. Each place she'd sent different stories, and she was getting as much money and as much books and stamps and etc. as she could possibly get. So I just washed my hands of that whole entire crew. Every single one of them were eventually taken off death row and serving life now. So I do have tons and tons and tons and tons of letters from her, and this is just the one envelope. If you guys want to see them, let me know, and I'll put them up on the Patreon, and you can just go through them. So that's it for what happened with me and Michelle Tharp and the women of Muncie Prison in Pennsylvania. If you want to know more about Michelle, because there's a lot I didn't tell you in her background, and it's pretty gross, or if you want to know more about Beth Markman, let me know, and I'll do those cases. In the meantime, thanks for tuning in, and please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it.